Welcome back to the Infinite Show. Akasha here, and this is part 2 of our amazing talk with Donna Kasseweitz of Speak Dolphin. And we're going to pick up now where there is, evolving this partnership we've been talking about, right, Donna?
Yes, so we're continuing our conversation about building the Human Dolphin Partnership for excellent global stewardship. Now we want to talk about what are the practical steps that we can take to evolve that partnership. And we've got several really exciting projects that we're going to share with you now. So now we want to look at how are we going to evolve the partnership. One of my questions for Spirit over the last several years is, well, thank you, God, that you gave me the opportunity to play this role in building the Human Dolphin Partnership with the swim programs the way they are. But we have millions of people now who have had that heart-to-heart, eye-to-eye contact with the dolphins. I know at least those people would be interested in taking things to the next step. Like now I know what it's like to be in the water with the dolphin, to touch them, to have them touch me, to just be looking them directly in the eye, to have that really deep connection. What can I do with this connection now? And this is where I say with our Speak Dolphin research and all the different projects we're going to talk about now, where I'm looking to just keep evolving the partnership. How are we going to keep taking things to the next level? So one of the first places is in our dolphin communication research. This is my husband, Jack, using what's called a Jacqueline disc in the middle and 2 very good quality microphones. He's recording that dolphin's vocalization. Remember, vocalization is when the dolphin is making sound. A lot of times their mouth is open. People think the sound's coming out of their mouth. It does not. There is no sound that comes out of their mouth. It's coming out through the top of their head. So that's for them, their nose and their voice here on their blowhole. So dolphins do vocalize underwater. When they're doing that, they're doing it for the, communicating with other dolphins. But whenever a dolphin is vocalizing with its head out of the water, he is definitely communicating with you. They are definitely doing that for the benefit of the humans, because if they're trying to communicate with the dolphin, they're going to do that underwater. In this case, I would say that one exception is the dolphins living in human care. If several dolphins have their heads above water working with the trainers, they might send each other a message that way too. But figure 99% of the time, it's for human benefit, vocalization that happens in the air. Oh, about this. These are examples of dolphin vocalization. Okay, so I didn't realize when I touched the next button, it was going to play the audio file, but all 4 of those are different examples of dolphin voices, all very different. We didn't even realize until we started recording all the dolphins, like how very, very different their voices are. So as different as human voices. All right, let me go on to the next slide. This is dolphins echolocating on platonic solids. We do some work with dolphins. We wanted to see if they would react differently to platonic solid shapes versus other shapes. And I don't remember that we had a definitive answer to that.
That being part of sacred geometry that that structures everything. So and then that is a form of communication.
The sacred geometry shape. Okay.
Yeah, it's a language. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I only know a little bit about sacred geometry, so I'll have to ask you more about that later. In this case, this dolphin is looking at a PVC cross underwater. We use what's called novel objects in some of the dolphin research. A novel object is just something that is unique and different to the dolphin, that maybe that's not normally encountered in the dolphin's environment. So it's novel to them. The reason we want to use novel objects is because it immediately stimulates the dolphin's curiosity, and automatically the dolphin's going to want to echolocate on it. So in this case, we're showing it this unique object. It's echolocating on the object, and my husband has the hydrophones in the water recording that echolocation. And here, this chart will show you kind of what's really going on. You see the, oh, you can't see my cursor on here, but you can see the PVC cross in the upper right and the dolphins aimed right at it. You see the hydrophones in the water on each side. You see the dolphins sending out echolocation beams and the reflecting beams coming back. So we're recording all of that using some a machine called the CymaScope in England. They were able to, which basically plays your sound file into a dish of water, a scientific dish, kind of like a Petri dish, but I'm told it's more specialized than that. But I call it a Petri dish because it's easier. A Petri dish of water with the sound playing underneath it. In this case, the sound file is the dolphin echolocating on the cross. And you can see, and then there's a camera above it and a light above it, and it's looking for the subtle patterns within the water from that dolphin's echolocation. And here you can see kind of the cross. We don't know why it's off center here, but that's where the cross showed up. This is a whole field of study called cymatics. Yeah. And there's a lot of cool stuff about cymatics, and probably
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it's the influence of sound on matter, right? So
yeah, and it's again, it's that ability for vibration to create form in specific form. So if you chant or you hear certain music go through sand or water, it'll shape it into some kind of sacred geometrical form, or in this case, what the dolphin is seeing.
Right. So this was our first step of beginning to see inside dolphin echolocation. Here's a picture of the dolphin playing with a blue foam cube. And here's a chart showing like the dolphin echolocating on the cube. And then at the bottom, you can see on the bottom left, the shape of the cube showing up again in that Petri dish of water. The right hand was a company made for us 3D prints of the cymaglyph image, because sometimes certain information could be revealed more in a 3D print versus just a flat photograph. So
looks like
we were experimenting.
Like got more
depth.
Detail, in the square. Interesting.
So yeah, there's just another close-up of that cube showing up in that Petri dish of water. And then my husband had the idea of putting a person underwater and seeing if we could see that within the dolphin echolocating on the person. So this is our research partner and longtime associate, Jim McDonough, and that's him underwater. This is like the dolphin's point of view looking at Jim, and he's holding onto that underwater platform. He's got a weight belt on, just trying to stay underwater instead of floating up to the surface. And yeah, here's another shot. You can see kind of the dolphin approaching him. And this is the resulting image of Jim underwater. The top is the cymaglyph image, and then the bottom is a 3D print again. But you can see the surprising detail in there. Like you can see his fingers, you can see his elbow. I mean, you can see actually the imprint of his weight belt, the metal weight belt. We don't know why his head and eyes look so weird, but remember, this is dolphin sound looking at it. We do believe that the dolphins see in much more detail than this, but it depends on which frequencies they're using at the time to examine stuff. We see the fuzziness of this image as more of a limitation of our science abilities, our technology at this moment, not a limitation of the dolphin echolocation abilities.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that one sound is just packed and packed and packed and packed with information. Right.
So so that was the dolphin research aspects, continuing to evolve the partnership through the emoji games. And Nan, I know you've played a lot of the emoji games. So the dolphin emoji game is a two-way communication game that we came up with. And it gives the dolphins a simple, clear way to express their choices. And it provides continually evolving mental enrichment. So the way we came up with this, we're thinking about the great communication strides that have happened with the great apes, like Coco the gorilla and all the other great apes. There's within the chimpanzees, within the bonobos, within the gorillas, and who am I forgetting? forgetting one of them, gorillas. Well, anyhow, there's 4 great apes, 5 including the humans. All of those great apes have had people working with them that help some of them to develop communication skills using sign language. They have hands like humans, so great apes can learn to use sign language. But we thought, wow, and we've learned so much about the personalities and the intellect of those species through that communication. And so while my husband and our science partners are working on many of the more complex aspects of dolphin communication and bridging that gap, we thought, let's create a simpler method to use in the meanwhile that would be fun for the dolphins and fun for the people, because most people I talk to, they want to do 2 things: swim with a dolphin and talk to a dolphin. We already got the swimming going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can we begin to train humanity to be in this communication frame of mind with the dolphins and do it in a very simple way, and give the dolphins, more importantly, ways to give instructions to the humans in ways that the humans can understand, when dolphins don't have sign language. I mean, they don't have the hands to do, sign language like the great apes. So we came up with this concept of physical symbols that the dolphins could choose from to give to the humans to indicate the dolphin's choice about a certain activity, or, this is the very beginning of a much, much larger lexicon of symbols that we'll continue to build, that will continue to give the dolphins more and more choice over their daily activities. Like maybe this dolphin can tell the human he's working with, like, hey, I want to work with that trainer today, or hey, I want to work with that dolphin, or hey, I just want to do this right now. So we're looking to give the dolphins simple ways that even us humans can understand what they're asking for. And I'll show you some more pictures. So in this symbol, you see the red heart up there. We use that for hug. So the heart means hug. The musical note means sing. The lips means kiss, and the spiral means spin around. Now we're starting with activities that the dolphins already know. They know the hand signals that the trainers give to indicate those activities. But again, the challenge was, how can the dolphins give those instructions back to the humans? And that's why we needed the physical symbols. Yeah. So here's an example of one of our emoji boards. In the later phases of the game, then it will begin to introduce syntax, meaning that word order has meaning. Like, it's different to take the ball to the hoop than it is to take the hoop to the ball, or, that word order has meaning. We already know from some of the great work done by Lewis Herman in Hawaii that dolphins totally get syntax. They get it really good. You could give dolphins a series of 5 hand signals, and they would correctly carry out each activity in the correct order. Again, so this will be getting into the more complex layers of the game. Because of COVID, we're like 3 years behind where I was hoping we would be by now, but at least we're still moving in the right direction.
Well, and it was amazing when you started using these, when you started having the ideas. It was something else even before this. And playing with them, they would be like, not sure, we'd show it to them, but they learn first what the symbols mean by us showing it, and saying, I'd hold the kiss symbol and then point at Donna, and then they'd go kiss Donna. And so at first they weren't always right. There was a learning curve. Remember that? It
still is.
And they sometimes go over and they'd look at you and they'd go, okay, I'll spin around,
right.
Now try it again, But then this other way around, like these steps that you're envisioning, of, okay, they learn the symbols and now they can speak to us, and now we can form sentences, and then they can tell us what they want to do. It's just awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It is a divine idea. So here's the dolphin carrying back the heart, and the heart means hug. So when the dolphin gives the hug to the humans, we have to hug each other. Sometimes you can hug the dolphin, but that's hard for several people to hug the dolphin at once. So it's like, all right, let's hug each other. So yeah, we kind of have to explain the rules of the game before we start, so that everyone can be, prepared to act promptly and correctly. But yeah, I think as time goes on and the dolphins learn the symbols more and more, that it'll be some clear indication of their personal preferences, like, oh, this dolphin, he always wants to make people hug, or
Yeah.
or this dolphin, no, this dolphin wants everyone to sing, or this dolphin wants everyone to do some other activity. So it's going to be fun to see those things as they develop.
Yeah, personalities. Well, and what I like too is that they really seem to react to when you act like a pod, like when
Right.
you all do something
I'm
for
going
one
to go
another.
into that in a
Yeah.
moment. I got pictures of that.
So seeing
So-
everybody hugging when they said
Right.
hug would be, I could imagine it would just be such wonderful, uplifting feedback for them.
Right. And yeah, the thing that everyone so far loves most about this game is when the dolphins get to tell the humans what to do. Everybody loves that, right? Because now we're finally spinning things on its head, and the dolphins get to tell the humans, give the humans instructions. So here's one of our interns holding up the spin emoji, and you see the dolphin spinning. And this is when the dolphin had brought the spin emoji back. The dolphin had chosen from the shapes out there, chose the spin emoji, gave it back to us, and this is everyone spinning. And we put our hands in the air because we want to, because early on when we were putting our hands in the air, it kind of looked like we were just turning our backs on the dolphins. And we didn't want to do, like, okay, let's be very clear that this is different. We're putting our hands in the air, we're spinning around, we're having fun. So I'll just remind you, Nan, when you're there with your groups, if people sometimes forget that part, just keep reminding them, put your hands in the air.
Yeah.
And spin around. Yeah.
It's kind of hard not to put your hands in your hair when
Well,
you're
and it
with
makes it
them
more
because
fun,
you're just
yeah.
so fun. Everything's just
Right.
like, woo.
Otherwise, yeah, everyone just kind of looks like lost and dazed and, All right. So next on the list is the pod games. And this is what you were just talking about. Pod games. So what we figured out several years ago is that the dolphins reacted differently when the humans in the water acted more pod-like, more as a unified team versus a bunch of individuals swimming around. So we started thinking of what were ways that we could be more pod-like in the water. And usually that involves staying physically connected to each other so that we're not drifting apart. So you've been part of some of these, Nan, these human mandalas in the water.
Yeah.
And yeah, the dolphins always, just creating some fun shapes in the water. And, you get to lay there and put your ears in the water and listen to the dolphin echolocation. And meanwhile, you get to see if you're interesting enough that the dolphin wants to check you out.
Yeah, well, they do. They go around you. You can hear them. Sometimes they, come up, and it's just really fascinating to see what they do. But again, especially like this, you're creating sacred geometry.
Yes, I think they probably do respond to that part as well. So yeah, here's more people doing just a mandala. This is a prayer group. So this was one of my team, and again, kind of just holding hands and creating a prayer circle, and it acts like a pod game because we're all staying connected. And look how the dolphins are definitely very interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
And this is like what we call swimming in a line. Again, we're asking everyone to hold hands. And that way we stay connected as a pod. Otherwise, we turn into individuals again. And it's so fascinating because whenever we do this, the dolphins just love swimming back and forth right in front of us. You can really tell that there's a different level of joy when they oh, look at the humans cooperating with each other. How cool that is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the first few times we did it, they were not quite sure, but then it was like, as soon as we started to do it, they would come straight up to your face. Right. They would just come straight up and look, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, it was like a parent, like, good for you, and then they would turn, they would be in front of us like they were leading the way, and then they would back up between us.
Yeah, it's very,
so we were in a line.
It's great to have your face in the water and be able to see this whole, this very interesting interaction with the dolphins. Here's, in Isla Mujeres, when we did, this was either the James Van Praagh group that I did this with, or the Donna Eden whole energy medicine tribe. And this was 60 people in both cases, about 60 people holding hands, swimming in a line. And yeah, it's a bigger area, and you see, and there's more dolphins in there, and you just see like, oh my, the dolphins go crazy. The dolphins are just like so happy. They really, really are. And it always feels good. If you've entertained dolphins for your day, you know you've done something good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the whole idea of being part of a pod and a lot of the messages we've been getting through a lot of the other people on this summit is that that we are part of their pod, especially if you swim with them. Like
Right.
you're now part of our pod, you're always part of our pod. But when I went on the first wild dolphin swim a zillion years ago, that was my number one thing, like seeing them, okay, swimming next to them. Of course, you can't touch them or anything. However, I wanted to get in the middle of them and feel like a pod. And I'm a very strong swimmer. So I had a few moments where I could get right in there and I'd look to the side because I wanted that imprint, that experience. And then of course they were too fast for me to keep up. So they would
Right. Yeah. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a glorious feeling. It really is. Here's an example. We found of the more pod games of forming a circle. And what we found is that the dolphins really respect the circle. And maybe, so the first times we were doing, so we like to get everyone holding hands, and then it's good to keep people really up in their joy, because the more joyous you are, the more you're going to attract the dolphins and the whales when you're out in the wild too. So have everyone hold hands, and we start to spin the circles. You got to keep swimming and turning the circle either to the right, and then like, oh, stop, go to the left. And meanwhile, we're always usually singing some song.
Yeah.
Usually it's "You Are My Sunshine" or "Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog," because it seems like everybody knows those words.
Yeah.
And people start laughing and having fun, and the dolphins are like so into it. And the first few times, I thought, okay, the dolphins are just going to swim up underneath us and get into the circle. And my friend who was with me, Jillian Rutledge, she said, "Donna, do you think the dolphins are swimming around us like crazy on the outside, but they're not coming in the circle? Do you think we should just open a little door for them to come in?" And I thought, no, they got plenty of room. If they want to come in, they'll just go up underneath us and pop up in the middle. But after several more minutes, that wasn't happening. So finally we opened, and I said, all right, I'm going to let go of your hand only, and we're going to make a little doorway here. Boy, as soon as we did that, the dolphins came right into the circle. And it was so fascinating, because it was kind of like, oh, look, they kind of respect the circle. They don't want to just butt in. You have to kind of invite them in. So in this case, this was our group in December, and that's exactly what we did. He was swimming around us beforehand, and then finally we just opened a little door, and he looks like he's part of the circle, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Oh yeah.
Then he came in and swam around in the middle of our love, and you can see how happy everyone is. So yeah, pod games, yeah, is very cool. So we're moving on to ball games, because we still have a lot to talk about. The ball games, I know you do this all the time, Nan.
Oh yeah, they love
it.
It
Seems so simple, but it really is so much fun, and the dolphins totally love it, especially the younger dolphins. Older dolphins, I don't know, they're just not usually that interested in the ball game, where the younger dolphins, they're all over it.
So the difference between when we first started, it was like they were just looking at us like, we're not sure what you're doing. And then we would push it around. And then the last few times, it was like you could barely get in the water before they were grabbing the ball and throwing it between each other and throwing at you. And sometimes there was one coming this way and that. They love it.
Yes, this is Jogo. So yeah, he's you'll see him in March. He's one of the ones that really still loves to play the ball game, and they are way better at catching it and throwing it than we humans are. And so one of the reasons I love the ball game again is because you build such a teamwork and camaraderie with them in playing the ball game. And I always encourage everyone, hey, just keep talking to them just like you would be talking to, a human teammate. Is like, hey, good catch, or oops, sorry, my bad, or wow, you're awesome. Just keep the conversation going, because that keeps people in that camaraderie feeling, and the dolphins definitely feel that. So here's, again, example of the dolphins just catching the ball and all the fun being had. And so moving on to dolphin energy medicine. How are we doing on time, Nan?
Good. I think I'll, do what we talked about before, but we'll just wait to the end.
Okay. So dolphin energy medicine is definitely another way, or doing any kind of healing work with the dolphins is another way to keep evolving our partnership with them. What Spirit and the Dolphins explained to me is doing healing work together with dolphins is an important step in learning how to move and transform energy together as teammates.
Yeah.
And so I want to say, definitely when you're together with the dolphins, and I know like you'd like to do, Nan, and have your groups experience some healing work in the water with the dolphins, that's powerful enough on its own for the people participating and for the dolphins to witness and get a sense of, oh, here's where these humans are at so far in their understanding of moving and shaping, transforming, uplifting energy. And then the dolphins can step in with their own energies to be part of that team.
Yeah.
But there's the even bigger picture to that is that this is one of the big building blocks for how humans and dolphins together can learn to move and transform energy for our whole world. That's how we really, start beginning to be energy transformers together as teammates.
Yeah,
so I'll show you some pictures. Here's you, Nan, with this young man. Yeah. And that dolphin is Regina.
Oh,
And
Regina.
well, I can go back to that. Anything you want to say about that?
No, but it was, amazing because I got to do a lot of this work with Patty too. And when you do any kind of like just being there to feel it or to watch it or to sense it or increase your intuition to be in this water with them, right? You're in the frequency with them, what they've already done to open up your intuitive, pathways, and then being that clear channel for co-creating what's optimal for that person, the healing. It's quite amazing. This is a pinnacle experience.
Yeah, and you look very radiant there too. So this is one of my teachers and mentors, Donna Eden. She's a world-renowned healer and author of one of the classic books called Energy Medicine by Donna Eden. And she has the remarkable ability all of her life to be able to see many, many layers of our energy field. So whenever she looks at any of us or a dolphin or any life form, or even when she looks around the earth, she sees an enormous amount of energetic information. And a large part of that is what she teaches in her Eden Method School now. It used to be called Eden Energy Medicine. They recently decided to change the name to Eden Method. And she's been at our different dolphin sanctuaries many times, her and her family and whole energy medicine groups. And I always ask her, like, Donna, whenever you with the dolphins, check out their energy, tell me what you see, and, give me some feedback, and what we might need to know. And so she's told me many fascinating things that she's observed, but one that I thought perfectly kind of sums up a lot of this energy work with the dolphins. She was at one of our locations and watching people who were just getting in the water. They're standing on the submerged platform. The dolphins just heading to approach them, but not yet within arm's reach. And she noticed that the dolphin's whole aura kind of reached out and just embraced everybody on the platform. And in that moment, when the dolphin's aura wrapped around everyone, she saw one woman that she happened to be noticing. I'm imagining she probably can't look at everybody's energy all at the same moment, but a person she happened to notice, one of that person's layer of energies that Donna calls the diamond inlay layer, because it's got a lot of little triangles like the facets of a diamond or something. That person's diamond inlay layer was missing some segments, but as that dolphin's aura wrapped around and hugged everyone, those diamond inlay segments started connecting right back up. Just started connecting right back up. And that's just a fascinating example of dolphin energy fields impacting humans in just a normal swim program. I mean, that wasn't even particularly like an energy medicine session in the water. That was just a normal swim program. So anyhow, I like that story because I've often witnessed it. I don't have Donna's gift of sight in that way, but I could intuit and feel those things going on. But it was just so reassuring to hear Donna kind of describing what she sees. So here's Donna Eden. Anybody, if you haven't met Donna Eden or seen her live, do try to catch her while she's live on planet Earth. You won't be disappointed. She's a classic. So
lots of joy. She's a good
definitely.
match for the joy of the dolphins.
Yeah. So this is one of the typical, what I call dolphin energy medicine sessions, or the kind of healing sessions that you do too, Nan. This is one of our teammates working on somebody else. We use the life jackets to make a very good floating massage table. And we're holding
It works.
usually energy points on the head because it's pretty convenient to do out there, and people can go really deep. And while you're laying there receiving the treatment, your ears are in the water, so you're getting to hear all the dolphin sound. Plus, you're immersed in the dolphin sound being in the water anyhow, but also as the healer, you're also immersed in the dolphin sound. So yeah, and you can see the dolphin swimming right by and checking it out. That's me working on someone, and the two dolphins right underneath
That's a
us.
wonderful picture. Oh.
Yeah, and yeah, you can see some dolphin echolocation going on. Here's an example of one of the typical healing sessions out there, the healing teams. So what have you done with your hands today? This was a message I got from the dolphins some years ago when it was Earth Day was coming up, and I thought, like, let me ask the dolphins, what do they want people to know? And I thought it would be an ecological message, but this immediately popped up. What have you done with your hands today? And what I took from that is, first off, that dolphins think hands are pretty cool. I mean, they don't have hands. They got a lot of other really cool special skills we don't, but they think human hands are pretty awesome and they can do amazing things. So they wanted to ask humanity, what have you done with your hands today? Are you reaching out in compassion and healing to your brothers and sisters? You know, are you using your hands to their full benefit? Because we highly recommend it. We think hands are awesome. So that was my take of that question.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and healing hands, you know, that concept, we have these palm portal chakras here, and that, as well as everything else, and this being coming from the heart, you know, it's part of the heart center, and the palms are part of the crown chakra, and there's just so much power in that. And a lot of the research, right, that some of it we heard the other day was that they feel like we're more related to dolphins because of the hands.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Dolphins have the bone structure inside the dolphin's pectoral fins is very similar to human hands. So I know when you said that, it made me wonder, I'll have to ask Donna Eden because she's worked with dolphins earlier in her life, and I'll have to ask her if she's ever noticed that there's like a chakra in the pectoral fin, like we have chakras in our hands. I'll have to find that out.
I would like to hear what she said, because I just got a vision immediately. Yes, it was like a yellow circle, kind of, I don't know how to say where it was, but it like lit up like, yeah.
Yeah. So in our dolphin energy medicine session, yeah, we always encourage everyone to give back to the dolphins. In this case, everyone was working on one of the dolphins' chakras and doing a little chakra clear to the dolphins, because, you know, they're amazing beings, but they're living in mortal bodies, mortal physical bodies like we are, and they definitely can benefit from energy work as well. And, you know, how can we be a human dolphin team if we're the ones always expecting to receive? We definitely want to give back. So this is a group chakra clear for dolphins. And this is just a little series of pictures of me tracing some meridians that on a dolphin. So yeah, it's very interesting trying to transpose what human meridians, because that's what we go by, because they have similar meridian structures to us. But then you have to kind of translate in your head, like, okay, where is that meridian? You know, where's bladder meridian on me, and how will that translate on a dolphin body? So yeah, it's very interesting to to do. This is Shadia again. You probably recognize her.
Shadia, my love. Yeah. Well, and I love that too, because you're doing something very profound. One of my mentors actually mapped the energy centers of dogs, cats, and horses. This was over 30 years ago, and then brought in frequency treatments, right, radionic, whatever you want to call it,
right,
specifically for them, because all the human stuff was being applied to them.
Right.
And the difference was so profound. So what you're doing is similar, like getting that co-creative feedback, mapping. You're mapping the world like back in the day when nobody knew what was the world look like.
And who was the mentor that you mentioned that did this work?
Oh, her name was Shelley. I can't remember her name now. She passed a couple years ago, and she was South African, and she lived in the south of France. So I met her through Linda Tellington Jones.
Okay, that makes sense.
When
Okay.
I was learning there, and then I met the animal communicator and several different healing people that I worked with. Yeah, and Kate, who was on just the other day, was the animal communicator that I met because she was working with a French psychic to verify all of her work, and then she came and started working with Kate, and I was really lucky to learn with her and be there when she developed prana-monics. And unfortunately, we don't know what's happening with her work because there wasn't anyone in her family, but
Oh.
I have all of her frequency work, and and so there's some people out there that it was very profound to have just the mindset, to have the level of respect of not just slapping
Mhm.
our opinion on them,
Right,
and your ability to be able to communicate and to feel it and to sense it is really, you're getting a chance to map that with them giving you feedback. Wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this is doing a spinal flush, which we humans think is really awesome. It's little tiny massage circles down both sides of the spine. We generally do it for each other at energy medicine conferences. And yeah, it feels good. So I thought I would see if Shadia liked it. And she did. She made a lot of very interesting purring kind of sounds. Getting a spinal flush.
I love it.
So another way we can keep evolving the Human Dolphin Partnership is through prayer and ceremony. And Nan, I know you're very good at that. This is an underwater peace flag ceremony that my daughter and I have done for years. And this was a particularly profound time in Cozumel. And that video, if you want to see the whole video, it's a lovely video, usually makes people cry. Makes me cry often. This is on our speakdolphin.com website. On the front page, you'll on the bottom right hand side, you'll see you can open up this YouTube link to watch this whole ceremony. And none of this was we're not a trained behavior with the dolphins. Basically, we had this Peace on Earth flag ceremony because my husband Jack and I are official representatives for the World Peace Prayer Society. The whole mission of the World Peace Prayer Society is to keep introducing the concept of may peace, or the phrase may peace prevail on earth, to get that into the collective human consciousness. So they've planted peace poles all around the world. My husband and I have planted several peace poles in Florida, one in Mexico. And we had this flag made to walk in the Parade of Nations for the opening of the Smithsonian Museum of the Native American, or the American Indian, they call it, in Washington, D.C. years ago. And then after that, Jack thought like, hey, I wonder, we should take that flag in the water and show it to the dolphins and see how they react to it. Well, the very first time we introduced the flag was in Isla Mujeres. And my daughter and I got in with the flag like this, and we thought, all right, well, we have to be prepared. The dolphins might be very frightened of it. They might make them very nervous. So let's just, go slowly, be cautious. Well, the opposite turned out to be true, because when we got in the water with that flag, we were immediately surrounded by, I think, like 15 dolphins that were so close and surrounding us that, like, literally we couldn't swim. I mean, our idea was to swim like a parade around the whole dolphin lagoon, but we couldn't swim because we were engulfed in dolphins. So finally we had to say, like, oh, okay, if you give us some room, we'll swim and you can come along with us. So that became our kind of underwater peace flag ceremony. We included some ribbons in there just because of fun, and a ribbon game that we would play with the dolphins. But we always wondered, in those early days, is like, wow, are they fascinated by the image of Earth from space? Or, I mean, for sure they could feel our intent, what the intent was. But we also wondered if they were thinking like, oh, look at that, the humans finally made it to outer space.
Yeah.
Down,
That's what I'm feeling, is this like, oh, good, they're getting perspective.
Right, exactly. So there's just other various Peace on Earth flag ceremonies. This was just in December. I took the peace flag down again, and we started doing the parade again around Puerto Aventuras. And yeah, and Jogo loved it. Everyone loved it. So we just had to keep using our creative minds to think of how can I create ceremony? What can I do with the dolphins to keep, evolving this partnership? Oh, and then, yes, coming up here, we're getting close to being able to have time to go into that violet flame meditation for healing the water of the earth. This is dreaming big. This is how I kind of see the future. As we create new ways to live sustainably and abundantly on this beautiful planet Earth, human dolphin sanctuaries will continue to evolve too. Your time spent with dolphins now helps build that future. We are the wave of humanity stepping forward to build that human dolphin partnership.
Yay.
And I love this
So
artwork. This
beautiful.
is by Jean-Luc Bazzoli, Joan Ocean's partner of many decades. And he always has very visionary, beautiful artwork, usually involving dolphins and whales. And I asked his permission to use this one because this one to me feels like a future human dolphin sanctuary using sacred geometry and throw some organic structure that is, the building, but it's made of sacred geometry. It's made of all natural materials where humans and dolphins can live and work together and co-create the new earth together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Gorgeous.
So, before we get to the violet flame meditation, this is another topic that dolphins wanted me to bring up. Choose to use conscious language.
Right.
The power of our words shapes the future of dolphins in human care. And so I wanted to say, I think I have another slide on this. Yes, I do. The dolphins I work with have taught me to not use the word captivity because it just reinforces an old paradigm and it broadcasts a heaviness towards them.
Yeah.
When we replace that limiting word with dolphins in human care, we are evolving the collective consciousness to a new level of relationship with them.
And I think you're also communicating the idea of care, like we're, if we're choosing to interact, then we have to respect that we are taking care. And how is that care? It's developing compassion and communication. Beautiful. Right.
So yeah, it keeps moving us to being the stewards instead of being the dominators, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I think just like you got from the tigers, you find pretty quickly if you keep banding about the word, word captivity, it's got such a heaviness to it that you can't have a positive conversation. So if you want to shift the whole energy of the conversation and the collective consciousness of humanity of what is our proper role with these amazing beings and our relatives in the sea, it's dolphins in human care. That lifts everything up to a new level of responsibility and co-stewardship.
And respect, because we need to respect the fact these aren't, stupid beings. These are sentient beings. They're spiritual beings. They're also intelligent, but I'm talking about that bigger picture of their spiritual nature, their abilities with energy and creation. And when we don't see anything as a victim, we can respect it to step into its power and its light, even each other. But when we say, we judge whatever that is, and judging them, that's what the white tiger said, hey, we know what we're doing. We made this choice. And if you would respect that, then you would lift us up.
Right. Well, I think that's part of the delicate dance most of us light workers are doing at this time is understanding that there is the soul path, right? And there is a divine purpose. And at the same time, not feeling like, oh, that gives humanity the right to do whatever, to cause unnecessary suffering or to cause any kind of limitation for another being. It doesn't give us a free pass just because, so we have to constantly work for that delicate balance of how do we honor and care for life on earth, and keep our perspective also on the big picture of why we're all doing this together to create this new earth, to manifest heaven on earth.
And to co-create it, like you're doing is you're studying how do they communicate, and you're bridging a gap right? From, back in the 30s when people didn't even know that they
Right,
had any capacity for anything really,
right.
to the point where now there's this development of not only us feeling and sensing and sharing or seeing energy, but the ability to communicate in a way we can understand more, that we can co-create. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think where we have come, say, even since 1938, when Marineland first opened and the dolphins first came into human care, and at the same time, that was, I believe, the exact year that the whaling in San Ignacio Lagoon stopped too. So, wow, where we've come since, say, 1940s and the 80 years, this 8 decades. It is pretty much at light speed because, I would say at any other point of history, it would have taken centuries to
Yeah.
make those changes. And yet here we are in 80 years, really transforming much of life on Earth. We've got a lot of work to do, no doubt about it. We still have an enormous amount of work to do, but thank God we're on the right path.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now, if we have time, then we can do the violet flame decree for healing all water on Earth. And I do have kind of a short explanation of the violet flame and why this is relevant for us to do together with the dolphins at this time.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that idea of the dolphin. So if you're familiar with one of my students, the violet flame, we have a meditation on the shop with it. But the great thing about this is the 7th ray of creation. And the great thing about this ray, when I first learned about it, we called it the violet light of fire. And it's been consciously co-created with on the planet for so long by so many, that it's the most manifest ray that we have, the one that can be, tapped into and tangibly felt because of that accumulation. So, and of course it's powerful because it's transmuting and it reconnects us to our soul purpose. So.
Yeah, nicely said. Yeah, I know you're very familiar with the violet ray or the violet flame. Both terms are appropriate. I'll take you to this explanation now. The violet flame, and also called the violet ray, is an aspect of God consciousness, which we visually perceive as the purple range of colors. The violet flame is considered to be the predominant energy available for use on Earth for the next 2,000-year cycle. So, yeah, this next 2,000 years, they're definitely, as I'm sure you're very familiar with, the whole cycles of different energies and the cosmic timings of things. We are blessed with the use of the violet flame in a very expanded way for this next 2,000 years. I know for me, the qualities that I've learned to associate with the violet flame are forgiveness, freedom, transmutation, invocation, and rhythm. Rhythm meaning the more you consciously and repeatedly use an invocation, like on a daily basis, the more momentum you build for that energy to be anchored into the earth and to, in this case, transform life on Earth.
Yeah.
So the violet flame and the violet ray is said to be the most powerful tool for healing and transformation that humanity has ever known. Saint Germain is the ascended master in charge of bringing the violet flame to the earth for this cycle of time. And from my school of studies, the Saint Germain is, he is the ascended master that was in that previous lifetime, Joseph, the father of Jesus. And now he's chosen to serve the earth in this way at this time by anchoring in the violet flame. And he definitely appreciates all the help we give him by joining him and anchoring it into the earth. I love this picture. I just found it today.
That's a beautiful, beautiful one.
Yeah. So
well, and what's wonderful is a lot of people know him for his alchemy work. And
yes.
when you realize that just means energy work.
Right. Good
Right.
point.
That's
Exactly.
energy medicine or transformation or transmutation, or, you're changing states, you're changing vibrational rates, and then your perspective changes and you rise out of things and everything too. Also for me, what I learned was Kuan Yin.
Oh yes, Kuan Yin is a big part of the violet flame too. Yes. Yeah. I love Kuan Yin. So we'll continue on. We can use the power of our words by invoking this transforming God frequency to uplift any substance or situation into a higher expression of love and light and divine perfection. As light workers, it is our privilege and our responsibility to invoke the violet ray on a daily basis for ourselves and the whole world. Invoking the violet ray is a powerful way to help transform all the water on Earth back into its pristine state. This is something the dolphins and whales care very much about, and we should too.
Yeah.
And the decree that we're going to do now is one that I co-created with the dolphins and Saint Germain for healing, for that very purpose, for healing the water, all water on Earth. And in this decree, we want you to imagine yourself in a circle of humans and dolphins, hand in flipper. I love this picture so much.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is yet. I have not been able to find it. I found the picture on the internet. I have not tracked down where it's from, but it's awesome. I love that. That's what I feel all the time in my heart.
Yeah.
Human Dolphin Partnership. So with this image of the Earth, I will read the violet flame decree, and I will say it one phrase at a time and pause in between the phrases so that you can repeat it yourself, because that's what a decree is a spoken word spoken out loud to manifest a new kind of reality.
And you have the power to create. That's why you're here, right? So
Yes.
and you're doing it right. You know, that idea. Maybe I'm not doing it right. You're doing it right because you're here.
Okay, so let's just take a deep breath together. This is the violet flame decree for global water healing. Mighty I am, presence bright. Remember to repeat these after me. We call forth your gift of light. We invoke the violet ray to transform us all this very day. We are one with the violet flame, now fully manifest in human and dolphin form. To serve the cause of light, to manifest heaven on earth. We invoke the violet ray to heal and transform all water on earth. Every underground spring, every tranquil pond and lake, every flowing stream, every river large and small, every gulf and every bay, every sea and every ocean, every cloud and every raindrop, every iceberg and glacier, every particle of water in every life form on earth is now bathed in holy light, according to the divine templates for heaven on earth. And so it is. Aho. Amen. Woo-hoo.
Woo. Beautiful, fantastic. My crown is oh, thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, well, thank you. So yes, with that image of the violet flame engulfing the earth and all of her life forms, and for this particular decree, especially all the water on earth, including the water in our own bodies. Yes, the dolphins are rejoicing because, yeah, they tell us we have not yet begun to appreciate the real magic and power of water. So
Yes, yes, yes. Well, and of ourselves.
right.
Right?
Good point.
who we really are and what we're capable of.
Yes. And yeah, so that concludes our talk on evolving the Human Dolphin Partnership. And I just want to encourage everyone, Nan, maybe you can send this, I'm thinking where I can provide this prayer for people to do.
Oh yeah, if
as
you
they
give
can.
it to us, we'll send it out to everybody.
Okay. And yeah, doing any kind of violet flame work on yourself or for the whole world. I do it every single day. And I know it's powerful. And as you know, the more we practice our spiritual muscles, the stronger they get, and the more that heaven can rely on us when there is a challenge or a global crisis. Heaven knows they can move through us to send the energy necessary to bring that situation back into balance. So thank you for having me, Jan. I mean, Nan, sorry, you got off.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it was delicious. Of course, anything to do with dolphins is delicious. But yes, and I agree. We need to spend as much time as you spend showering and brushing your teeth, bare minimum, right, on your spiritual work, on your light body work, and your energy work. And yeah, we've created our own images of the violet flame and encoded them, and I do it, I don't know how many times a day. It's such a powerful thing to easily cleanse or clear yourself, and you can do other places and buildings, and just bring it in wherever you go and become a beam for that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And you can find Donna at speakdolphin.com, and we will have all of her information. If you get on nanakasha.com, we'll send you that an email, all the reminders. But you have a playlist here, and we'll have those links below as well. And you can always let us know whatever it is you need. So thank you. Well, that was incredible. But is there anything else you want to share before we go?
Just a recent message from the Dolphins was keep asking, how good can it get? It's very challenging when we look at the news and see things around the world, and we start letting our mind wander over to, oh no, how bad can it get? And that is a terrible question to ask the universe. We don't want those answers. We want to stay focused on how good can it get? Ask that every day. How good can it get? So yay, how good can it get? Thank you, Nan.
Perfect. Oh, thank you, sweetie. So much love for you, for Jack, for everything you're doing, all the dolphins. We're just going to send out a wave of gratitude now so we can pull in that gratitude, really feel it. Gratitude is a nice, really high state up there, kind of near that joy, and then send it to yourself. Fill it full of your body, your mind, your aura, your emotions, every part of you, and then out. And you can sense and feel it. Just give it a little instruction and imagine it pulsing out like rings and moving into your space. Really thanking yourself for taking the time to do this, to think outside the box, to expand, to want to be able to communicate, to want to stretch into who really am I? What is my potential? And let's send that to all the dolphins in human care, to all the waters, to Donna, and out to the very core of the earth. And then together we'll all breathe that out and send it up like to the clouds, into the celestials, and let that radiate out. Oh. So as you're watching the series and you have all this incredible information, take it and then let it roll around during the day. When you're walking around, maybe you're going to hear, what are you doing with your hands? Or, you're going to just suddenly feel this warmth moving through you, or get an image. The beautiful thing about digital photography is that it captures the actual frequency, the essence of the moment. So when you get to see these images, you're getting that, it's radiating to you. So you can receive it, you can be in the flow. And really that message from the dolphins is, are they calling you? Are they calling you to come, to be with them, to that? Or do they want to come to you in your dreams? Could you look at pictures of them, sounds of them? We have several healing meditations with them. And just in whatever way, why is this a part of the message for you? Because they've been around a really long time. So it's quite certain if you had other lives that you could have interacted with them. And we have all these sacred and ancient cultures. The Mu civilization came through in the first show and told us that they came into form and they remembered who they were and they played in form. And then pretty soon they got consumed with form and they forgot who they were. They forgot that they were vibrational creators, beings, and the dolphins were the ones that saved them. The dolphins were the ones that kept coming back and reminding them and lifting them out of that until they became an ascended civilization that's helping us structure this new world. So there's a lot here. Whatever the message is for you, I know that it's in your heart, whether you feel like you've received it or not. And remember, you're now part of the pod. So whatever you do, wherever you go, you're part of the pod. We're going to go ahead and take. May this circle be open yet unbroken, and this joy and this wisdom and these heart connections go with us with every breath and every step as we move into our day. We radiate the violet flame, the joy of our heart-to-heart connection with these beautiful dolphins and the dolphins on all the different levels and all the realms and all the times and all the spaces. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful. So I will see you on Sunday, and we're going to be doing some more dolphin messages and channelings and healings. And in the meantime, have a beautiful and blessed day. Thanks, everybody. Bye.